I heard you the whole time.
Red button.
All right.
We're recording.
No time. All right. Welcome, sixth graders, to the week of May 19th to the 26th, which, if you check, that's actually a full week. And we'll get to that in a second. But first, birthday shout-outs. We've got Yasser and Naomi on May 20th. Happy birthday to both. Jonah is on the 22nd, and Anaya is on the 23rd. So in the words of Katy Perry, make it like your birthday.
Robinson.
Every day.
Woo.
She's so obsessed with cucumbers. I wonder if she prefers cucumbers over birthday cake.
Doubtful.
You should ask her that question.
Possible.
Should.
Or cucumber birthday cake.
Ooh. It's like
No.
a carrot cake, but cucumbers?
I disagree with that greatly.
Dairy
Am I taking this
plans.
one? Oh, go for it, Miss Doyle.
All right. Make sure that you are doing them in the order they are listed. If you, for most of your classes, you have a warm-up. You need to do that in Google Classroom. For me, you just have an exit ticket. That still needs to be done every day in Google Classroom. That is the only option for it. That is how we take attendance. Make sure that you are continuing to do the lesson content and that you're seriously answering the questions, not just randomly putting things down like I don't know. This week, we are actually going to have 5 days. I talked about that in my daily video. So we have our normal Tuesday to Friday, and then Monday, since that is Memorial Day, you will actually not get your packets until Tuesday. So you will also have the content for that Tuesday, the 26th, I believe,
That is correct.
on that Tuesday. So you'll get your packets, but you'll also have your content included in your packet for that Tuesday. So we actually have 5 days of work. Packet turn-in will be that Tuesday after Memorial Day next week.
And I want to reiterate here, remember that your teachers are still posting things electronically every day. So if that sounds a little scary that you're going to have all of this downtime between getting your packet and when it's assigned, hop online and take a look. We put the due dates on there for a reason so that you can work, right? We don't expect you to be working until midnight because you don't get your stuff until the afternoon. Very important. Go online, check it out.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Plog. All right. Any other things, guys? Sweet. All right, the word of the week this week is mollycoddle, and this can be a verb or a noun. As a verb, it means to pamper or spoil someone, and as a noun, this is that someone who is pampered or spoiled. So such as, I found school very difficult, and I realized I'd been mollycoddled at home.
See, to me, it almost just sounds like it's someone that's named Molly that is coddled. And to me, it would still make perfect sense with the definition of the word. So it's very interesting that it works out.
Still works in a sentence. Yeah, it still works.
I don't know anybody named Molly who's ever coddled.
I am definitely guilty of this with my eldest child.
With your Molly?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it never happens to me. I know that this Molly never gets mollycoddled, but there's another Molly we know that sometimes gets
Maybe a
little-
Miller.
Is it a
One of the
Miller?
Millers.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
She's the youngest child, possibly from my study hall. Maybe.
Yeah. She plays tennis whenever she feels like it.
Maybe. She still owes me a tennis match. I'm just going to assume at this point that I won the match because she didn't show up for the match.
I think that's a
valid
good
assumption.
assumption. Yeah.
I go
Yeah,
as
I
the
think-
oldest person, so if you don't play, I say you come out on top, Mr. Lamprecht.
I agree. Winner.
Yeah, Totally.
All right. Next. This week in history.
Speaking of social distancing, by the way, tennis would be a great game to do social distancing.
I know.
I never thought of that before. That's interesting. Maybe I'll have to get my fiance to do that.
Almost
All
as
right.
good as golf. Almost as good as golf.
Debatable, especially with how I've been swinging the club lately. But that's another story.
That's a personal
right.
problem.
This week in history, we are going with May 25th because that happens to be Memorial Day this year. Fun fact, Mr. Plog was born on a Memorial Day. In which day? You will never know.
You mean which
On
year?
this day in history, in 1936, American track star Jesse Owens broke 3 world records and tied another in little over an hour. This was in the Berlin, Germany games in which Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany hosted their first and only Olympics. Now, if you know, they were not terribly keen on people of different races. So this was like the ultimate stick it to Nazi Germany. And Mr. Hitler was very, very, very upset. So this is one of the coolest events in American history. And I would even argue world history.
For
And
sure.
secondly, Muhammad Ali, this is on 1965. He knocked out Sonny Liston in the first round after 1 minute and 56 seconds for the world heavyweight title. Now, as I said before we started filming, this is one of my favorite sporting events in history because this is known as the Phantom Punch. If you watch it in replay, it is almost impossible to see Muhammad Ali's fist hit Sonny Liston in the jaw. He goes down, takes the 10 count. A lot of people think he threw the fight, but we'll never know because within 2 years, he was assassinated. So it's one of the greatest mysteries in all of sports. Did he take a dive or not?
Or was Ali just such a fast punch?
Well, and that's the thing, right? He did have a fast punch, but there were people at ringside that when he went down, he was screaming at Liston saying, get up, no one's going to believe this, get up and fight. And he just sat there on his rear end and took the 10 count.
I did not know that. That's super interesting.
Wow.
And unfortunately, we can't ask Muhammad Ali anymore either, but it's, I love boxing. It's one of my favorites. Students, you know that. And I would say besides a couple of other more recent ones that I've seen, this is probably my favorite moment in all of sports and definitely boxing history.
Interesting.
That's all I got.
Oh,
Cool. Thank you for that, Mr. Pog.
Mm-hmm.
awesome. All right. The set of numbers for 24 this week are 12, 7, 5, and 9. We'll give Mr. Lamprecht and Mr. Plog some time to see if they can figure it out.
I love that you don't even pretend that I do it.
You don't seem
I
as
can't-
interested.
I'm not getting that one as fast.
I got it.
Oh, Doyle got it.
No, you
I think
didn't.
29 is the closest I've gotten so far.
I could tell because you were looking up at your webcam, Doyle. You weren't even looking at the actual page.
Don't
Congrats.
call me out. All
Congrats,
right, you gonna throw
Isaac.
some names? Said Isaac and Cameron and Matheos. Hey, Hope, a girl.
Cameron. Yes. Oh,
Oh, catch those mints.
I remember my computer.
Catch them.
What is it? I need to get back
They're
in on
raining.
this Zoom call. All right.
All right,
We're
can
back
I
in.
go?
Congrats, guys, and Hope for figuring out last week's riddle. Keep it up. A special shout out to Hope, who used different fonts to show the numbers as she was doing her calculations. So nice work. I don't know if she was really, really bored or what, but it was pretty cool.
More homework and 2 mints.
Right.
All right.
Back check
As-
you off.
As promised, these are all Frozen 2 ones. So hopefully, Mr. Cathers, hopefully you've heard these ones before. I feel like
100 times.
a legit like podcast video, like the caveman fact checks Olaf and have Olaf there saying different things. But we're going to go through 4 things that Olaf says in the movie Frozen 2. And I want you to think right now, this is to all of you, how many of these 4 do you think are actually true? So 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. How many do you think? Before we get started, hold it up.
So I can tell you right now that from this year, from Friday Trivia in math class, 2 out of the 4 of these have been a Friday Trivia question.
I don't believe
Okay.
that.
So you're thinking at least 2. All right.
And,
So
I know a third one. For sure.
let's go through. So the first one was turtles breathe through their butts. That was the phrase. Now, Cathers has given this a thumbs down. And I'm going to tell you that there is particularly a species, it's called the Australian white-throated snapping turtle, that actually breathes 70% of its oxygen through a small hole that is on its backside called a cloaca.
Oh,
And
I've heard of
It
those.
actually takes in 70% of its breathing through this method to avoid predators. Now, there are other species of turtles, there's quite a few of them, that actually breathe between 20 and 70% of their time of breathing through their cloacas. So this one is actually, can be true, can be considered true.
For me, that kind of sounds like whales, right? Like that they have the blowhole that they can take oxygen in, but they also could breathe through their mouth if they needed to, right?
Yeah, so they
That's
have
what the-
lungs. They breathe through their lungs, but they can take the oxygen in through this method if they
Either way.
truly.
So is it like absorbed through their bloodstream?
I mean, it's
like
still.
a blowhole. Like it comes.
Yeah, it's
So their cloaca is like
Essentially-
a blowhole?
It's
It connects
where
to their
they
lungs?
excrete waste and through breeding and egg laying. So it's essentially it's their colon kind of.
Okay, continue.
All right. So that's true. Men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. Yes, this one's true. 85% of the world cases of people being struck by lightning are of men. However, cool fun fact on this one, 2/3 of those, over 66% of those instances of men being hit by lightning happen between noon and 6 p.m. And almost half of those are either while on a fishing boat or on a golf course.
See,
Makes sense.
that makes
sense.
perfect sense though, because most people are going to be outside during those times, which increases your likelihood.
Right.
And obviously, holding a golf club, you just have a nice little lightning rod in your hand as you're playing.
Yeah, or a fiberglass
Or-
pole. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
So-
women are more reasonable than men. We go inside when there's lightning. You know,
You know,
we don't
it's-
hold a
Is
big
there
metal.
also, does it have anything to do with the amount of iron in blood?
I didn't see anything on that. Most of the time, it's the activities that the people are doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on a golf course and it starts thunderstorming, I mean,
Well, I meant more
that
towards.
stuff's not coming down for a while.
I meant between men and women.
So,
Uh,
Yeah.
Something I thought about.
All right, people
Number-
blink 4 million times a day.
Thank you, Miss
Yeah.
Doyle.
this one is way off. So if you study people, the average human being blinks between 4 and 20 times a minute. And 20 times a minute would be a lot. But let's say someone is intentionally doing that 20 times on average a minute. Even if they did not sleep, that would still only be 28,800 blinks a day. Way short of 4 million times a day. So sorry, Olaf. Olaf is totally wrong there. And
So-
our last one, kind of like the goats having weird shaped eyes,
Is it true?
wombats poop in squares. Now this one took some serious research on it, but it's supposedly an evolutionary thing that wombats are one of the most territorial animals, and they save up their poop and poop between 80 to 100 pellets a day, but they poop it in the shape around their territory. So whatever they deem as their territory, they space out their poo nuggets in the shape, like dotting a map around their territory every day. And the reason why it's square is because when they live in areas that have lots of wind, if it was rounded poo, it would roll away in the wind. And because it's cubed, it stays there on the ground and does not blow away.
That's
daily
so
routine.
weird.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They literally mark out their surroundings every day with their square poo pellets.
That's-
Really weird animal.
Yeah, I knew that one. My children have a book called What is Poop? And that is one of the little,
I
I
think
guess
we-
you can call it nuggets in the book.
Wow.
I read that book when I was a kid too, actually. Hey, Mr. Lamprecht, going back to your blinking fact, I was doing the math. That's why I was crunching the numbers on here. You'd have to blink 11 and a half times a second for that to be true.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe in a year.
Oh my goodness, it's the
3
week
out of the 4 of
schedule.
those were true. Go for it.
Longest video ever.
All right, so we are going to keep going in Prince and the Pauper. We are reading chapters 10, 11, 13, 22, and 25. So we're actually going to skip a big chunk after chapter 13. Again, we are running out of days, so we're just going to read the most important, the most exciting parts of Prince and the Pauper. Again, you are always free to read whatever is going on in between, but we will not be doing activities based on them except for these chapters. So keep up with Prince and the Pauper. A lot of you really like the book. I'm super glad to hear about that. If you haven't turned your Julius Caesar book in yet, please do. And last, little shout out for the library. If you have a library book, there will be receptacles. There will be ways for us to receive them. So if you have a library book at home, please return it, because we're going to get parent volunteers in to start re-entering those books and getting them set up for summer. So turn in your Julius Caesar book, turn in your Plog books as well. turn in your school library books and keep reading Prince and the Pauper. That's all I got.
Speaking of those turning in of books, I want to give a kudos to the sixth graders because you guys had a lot of stuff get turned in through distribution. So keep that going. Keep turning in whatever you can. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Lamprecht. Go ahead, social studies.
One thing to clear up about turning in PLOG books, make sure that you're turning in your Latin American independence books because you will still be needing your Industrial Revolution books until we are done with distance learning.
It's a good
And
point.
just
I
take a
should have
look-
mentioned that.
No, that's okay. Just to take a look quick, we've actually got 3 reading guides that we're assigning next week, but you got to remember that we are going for a full week, right? So we're going to be doing one on Tuesday that's kind of short. And then on Wednesday, you're going to have one that's due 2 days later with an optional assignment thrown in. And then we are going to have one that's assigned on Friday, and it will be due that following Wednesday. So when you are doing a reading guide, if it goes in between packet turn in, remember, it's right at the back. You can pull it out, and if you need to keep it and work on it, you can staple it on your next one, and I will grade it when I get it the next time. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right, for math on Tuesday, today you're doing 12.4. There will be a homework assignment. Tomorrow is a review day for Unit 11, Thursday, Unit 12, and then you're going to get 2 days to work on the Units 11 and 12 tests. It's not a ton of problems, but I want you to sort of take your time and space it out. And for honors math, you're starting the week with a test. On Friday of last week was actually Thursday of last week was a review day. So we'll be working on Unit 3 test today. And then moving on to Unit 4, which is solving algebraic equations. You'll have homework assignments on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No homework on Tuesday because it's a 2-day lesson. On to science.
All right. Science, we're continuing our bridge building timelines. We'll have 3 days of those. Then we're going to do some videos and reflections based on Lego Masters series and their bridge building competition. And then you will end with creating a blueprint of a bridge on next Tuesday. Please do on that Tuesday turn in your bridge video guide sheet. That's the only thing you should turn in. You will receive an extra copy of that this week, but you don't need to even touch that if you held on to it from the last week.
Awesome. Our moment of Zen this week is, Mr. Lamprecht, would you like, or should I, because I'm the female?
Right.
With great freedom comes great responsibility. First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt.
And the reason I included that in there is that because starting this upcoming Monday after we shoot this video, our stay-at-home order is going to be lifted, right? And it is great that we're starting to get a little bit more freedoms with things that are going on. But just remember that you do have a responsibility to keep others and yourself safe as well, okay? So make sure that you're still making good choices. I'm just as excited as everybody else that this is happening, but from personal experience, I can tell you that this disease can be spread through the most harmless of interactions. So please make sure that you're being responsible, 6th graders. We care about you and we really want to see you next year.
I miss you guys.
Oh man, it's
Same
bad.
here.
Yeah.
Having a rough day today, guys. I miss you guys a lot. Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
All right. Well, it's good to talk to you, and have a great week. Stay safe. Enjoy the sunshine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Look at my hair. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yikes.
Still recording.
Still recording, Doyle.